everybody, it's Jenni Smith and welcome to a brand new episode of Quiltfolk's virtual show and tell. This time I've got some brand new stories for you from around the world. In Germany there is Sandra with her temperature quilt, and we'll find out more about temperature quilts in general. I'm chatting with William, the youngest quilter yet to feature in this series, and his mum Hilary over in Houston, Texas. And then we'll chat with Dawn in the USA, who recently won Quiltfolk's Be Mine Heart Quilt competition.
Hi, I'm Sandra. I live in a small village south of Munich, and it's called Hohenbrunn. That's why I'm the Hohenbrunner quilterin. You can see the Alps from where we live, so this is really a nice place, but we are in Munich within a 20-minute ride, so it's not too far away from the big city. I started to make a temperature quilt just because I saw someone else doing a temperature quilt, and the first thing was I was just wondering what she's doing, what is a temperature quilt, so I got stuck with this whole thing and decided, okay, I'll have to try this too, just to see how the colors will arrange themselves. So it's not about me choosing colors and arranging them and doing a pattern or so. It's just the colors working for themselves. This was quite difficult for me because usually I'm very strict with choosing colors, choosing patterns, trying to look whether it fits for me. And then often I change something because I don't like it the way it is. And in this case, I couldn't do this. So this was quite a challenge for me as well. We live in an area where you have different seasons and really a change of temperatures through the whole year. So you see it starts with a very cold time in January, February, even often in March. And it gets warmer until June, July, sometimes August, and then it goes down again from the regarding temperatures. I had to choose one way to get the temperature. So I just took the app on my phone, and every day I wrote it down. So it was not that I was sewing every day. I just wrote it down. And then, for example, after a week or so, I decided, okay, today's a day to sew a little bit. And then I printed those flying geese patterns myself, and just always wrote the date on the back of it so that I didn't mix it up somewhere. This is the daily high and the daily low. For example, when it was very warm, so it's more than 30 or 35 on the day. And the yellow one is then about just around the 20s. So it represents the high and the low of the day. The color represents, for example, 3 degrees, from 14 to 16 or so. So it might be 14 on this day and 16 on this day, but the color arrangement is the same. For example, here, the daily high and the low are the same. So it's a flying goose with the same background. Don't really like those dark blues and dark greens. That's not what I would have chosen. I really love the green, yellow, orange, but maybe it's also because I just like the summer more than the winter. I also like this one, this petrol and orange. It's a nice, it's a strong color. I really like this. Color is always a challenge, I think, just to choose what goes well together, what plays well together. And here you don't have to think about it. You just do what the climate, what the temperature tells you, and you don't have to think and don't have to worry about it, whether it looks good or doesn't. It's just as it is.
We live in Houston, Texas. We've lived here almost 10 years, so about as long as he's been alive. So I asked him, it was the day before entries were due, and I said, hey, you said you wanted to make a quilt for QuiltCon. It's the last day. Do you want to do this? And he goes, yeah, we have to do it. And so what we did, he chose the background fabric because he liked the color. And it's just a whole yard. It's selvage to selvage and then a yard. And I gave him a water-soluble marker, and he took it and he drew all of his monsters.
This quilt was based on monsters I made when I was like in first grade. I don't know. Oh, I only put 3 of them. There's a lot more. And my mom thinks this one looks like Mike Wazowski. First, I have no idea how they would look in 3D at all. I don't know how they would work in 3D. They're basically, a lot of them are an eye. It's like an eye. I like to do an eye with like a line in the middle, make it a little more scary. And then they got 2 hands with 3 fingers. One of the things that needed to be in the show, it has to be an original idea. I don't think anyone's had an idea like this. What we did is like I drew it, and then we cut fabric and then glued it on. And you can't see it, but there's little lines.
The quilting line.
The quilting lines. We did it all in one sitting because it was the day right before QuiltCon, or they weren't allowing entries. So I think like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, we got this done quick.
We listened to a lot of music.
And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed working with him and seeing him quilting, and made my mommy heart proud.
The background color I just did because I like it. The black is because that's how they normally look. Look, this is gray. It's like supposed to be like tubes.
That's how she eats, right? That's
Yeah.
how the queen eats. Okay.
This is a little brown. It's kind of hard to see. And I think his eye was a color that we didn't have. Or no, it was because having it just black, it didn't look right. You know, now that I'm looking at it, if you tilt your head a little bit on the zoom, it looks kind of like an awkward avocado.
It does a little bit.
Thank you for doing 30% of this quote.
You're welcome.
Because it said at least 70% had to be done by the child.
Hi, I'm Dawn Lowe, and I live in Mansfield, Massachusetts, south of Boston. I made this quilt as part of the Quiltfolk contest that they had for the month of February with the Be Mine Quilt pattern. The quilt that I made is actually going to be raffled off in support of the Williams Syndrome Association. And so my son was born with Williams syndrome in 2007. And Williams syndrome is a deletion of about 26 genes off the 7th chromosome. And it occurs in about 1 in every 10,000 births. And in the United States, we have about 20,000 to 30,000 individuals with Williams syndrome. There are intellectual disabilities, and the chief thing is missing the elastin gene. And when your body doesn't have enough elastin in it, it causes a lot of vascular problems, muscle tone issues. But in the case of Williams syndrome, it causes a very specific heart defect called supravalvular aortic stenosis. I wanted to do a quilt eventually. As I'm sure many people struggle with, there's only so much time in the day between work and family. And so it's not until I saw this pattern where I went, that looks like something I might be able to get out in less than 3 years. And I actually made it in a month. And at first I was over planning. And then I was like, you know what? I have like gobs of fabric. I'm going to make it scrappy. And if it's not the perfect shade of green, then so be it. No one's going to know but me. The colors in the quilt are the same as the colors in the Williams syndrome logo. So the lime green, the blue, and the red. And then, of course, with the heart, I knew whatever quilt I made, I wanted to have a heart pattern to it because of that particular heart defect that most of our individuals with Williams has. I am super happy with how it came out. It was such a great pattern to put together. I'm going to have to probably make some more. The corrective action for the stenosis is open heart surgery. And we've been really lucky that, in my son's case, his heart defect is mild and very stable, but not everybody has that. And so for some people, it's doing quite a few surgeries. I guess the other part that I didn't mention is just the personality of people with Williams syndrome, that they're extremely verbal and outgoing. And so there's a lot of interest by scientists about, well, why is it in autism we have individuals who may be missing some genes and they're more closed off? And with Williams syndrome, they're missing genes on the same chromosome, but still they're going out and trying to hug everybody. So COVID was a special challenge in the beginning for us because my son loves to give hugs, and his way of reaching out to people was to shake their hand. And we were having to pretty much jump in front of him in front of strangers, like, no. But it is an area that some scientists are really interested in looking into to see, why do we have these differences? And so, hopefully this will aid in some of that research. I was truly honored to have it selected as the winner of the contest.
Thank you everybody for watching. As always, it's wonderful to connect with you all and the makers whose stories that I share from around the world. If you have any ideas or want to be involved, then drop me a line. I'm Jenni at quiltfolk.com, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. Bye.